Hi, episode 4 of season 2 Last of Us review. Um, where should we start? Well, I will start out with, I think this is the first episode of the season that I liked parts of the episode. Overall, mm, you know me, I complain about everything. So that's actually a pretty high score for me. It was the first one where I actually am able to sort of vocalize some problems I had with it. Not the entire thing, but some parts of it. But it starts out with a scene that I really liked. It showed the beginning. It showed like a introductory to Isaac, the leader of the wolves, and he was with Fedra. And 20 seconds into the episode, I just shouted in my apartment, "Hug me, brother!" I wasn't expecting Josh Peck to be in Last of Us. That threw me for a loop. I grew up watching him in The Amanda Show and Drake and Josh, so I can't really take him seriously. And he played a Fedra soldier, and they're all very full of themselves. And I remember in trailers for the season, you thought that the woman outside of the truck was like the Seraphite leader, but no, she's probably a high-ranking member of the Wolves, and Isaac was there to betray Fedra and become a wolf himself. And yeah, I really liked how that scene went because I didn't know where it was going. And I remember watching like the interviews with actors after the scene or after the episode, because we didn't really get this much detail into Isaac in the game. We knew about him through notes and more notes and more notes and more notes and more notes. Does post-apocalyptic Seattle even have that much paper? Anyway. But it was nice to actually see him and some of his origins. Not all of them, but some of them. And yeah, Jeffrey Wright said that, it looks like Isaac is betraying Fedra to be a wolf, but in reality, like in his mind, it was more Fedra that betrayed him. What they stood for and their ideologies, he just started to not agree with them a bit. So I felt like that made a lot of sense, especially with how some of the soldiers were acting in the truck. Yeah, I really liked that scene. And again, I don't know if this is the game's intention, or if this is the show's intention. But after this episode, I kind of became more invested in Isaac and the Wolves versus Seraphite conflict versus Ellie and Dina revenge plot. I don't know if that's their intention. I'm sure they want us to care about all of it, but I started caring more about that. Maybe it's because we actually got to see the conflict up close, a little bit closer. I don't know. Anyway, then it starts with Ellie and Dina venturing further into Seattle. They find a tank. Ellie sings "Take on Me," and then they find the TV station, and Shimmer gets abandoned. They just couldn't kill a horse in the show. They just couldn't kill the horse in the show. Just left him there. And then there was a scene with Isaac torturing the Seraphite, and I mean torturing. Ooh, that's right. I kind of liked his monologuing. I don't know. He's just a really good actor, so I enjoy the scenes with him. And it's a big conflict, so I don't know, just a nice piece of television, that whole torture sequence. I just liked it. It also showed he took one of the Fedra soldiers out from the truck before he blew it up. And that was the same guy 11 years later. after he like executes the Seraphite with the gun, uh, there's one guy guarding the door that's like, he's a little scared. The other guy with the blank stare on his face, that was the Fedra soldier. I don't know if you guys knew, if you picked up on that. Probably. I'm usually the one that misses out on that, but I'm sure there's one person watching this that didn't know it was the same guy. I'm calling him Danny. Yeah, that was Danny. No. But yeah, you see like 11 years later with the wolves and with Isaac, and he's just got this like blank stare, like my profile picture. He's got this blank stare. He's like, he killed him. He's like, good. One less scar on the world. He's just soulless, completely soulless, like not even human anymore. Which I am sure will come into play later. Or we never see or hear from him again. That could also be true. But I just thought that entire sequence a good piece of television. Good piece of television. They were also talking, I remember the one Seraphite mentioning, like, every day there's a wolf that defects to the Seraphites, but never a Seraphite that defects to the wolves. And, like, I think that line by itself is setting up the Lev and Yara storyline, as they are probably going to be the literal only ones that end up defecting. Thought of that right away. But there could also be a case of someone Isaac trusts a lot defecting over to the Seraphites. I don't think there's any instance of that. Well, everyone thinks that Abby joins the Seraphites, but she didn't actually. They think she did. Like, in the game, that's not what she did. But, well, kinda. Like, she didn't become a Seraphite, but she, she's just another person that seemed to defect away from the wolves. Knowing it, he probably thinks it's true. Yeah, I feel like just that little conversation they had is setting up some future plot lines. Maybe not even this season. Probably in season 3. Setting up Owen and Abby. Yeah. Yeah, like, I know Abby didn't defect to be a Seraphite, but she definitely defected against the wolves. Especially, she wanted to just go to Santa Barbara and all that. Yeah. Okay, but that was it with Isaac. Then it gets back to the Ellie and Dina stuff, which, in the beginning I thought was fine. They venture further into Seattle. Again, there was the whole take on me. It's so beautiful. Anyway. Then they find the... Oh, God. What was the whole... someone help me out. What was the whole reason they decided to go into the TV station? What was it? They didn't think one of Abby's crew members were there. It was something else. I don't remember. Someone else help me. Oh, it said wolf on the set. Right. Yep. It had wolf graffiti on it. Right. Thank you. I only watched the episode once. Anyway, yeah, so they went in there hoping to find, well, just to check around, I think. They leave Shimmer. Okay. I start to develop some problems with the show, starting at around there. I wasn't expecting, like, a part 2 game body count. Obviously, I don't think any of us were expecting that. And I talked a little bit with my viewers before I started recording this video. I just remember, I don't know what they were expecting when they went into the TV station, maybe just to find some intel or find a soldier or two or whatever. They went to Seattle knowing they were going to kill Abby and her crew. That's, I don't remember the exact number, 6 or 7 people. The amount in the game is different compared to the amount of people in the show. There were a couple characters that just weren't in the room with Joel. They went to Seattle, knowing full well they were going to take the lives of 6 or 7 people. And even before they went in the TV station, this is one thing I remember. It's like, what if a wolf not in Abby's crew gets in our way? They both give each other a look, and they're like, agreed. They're going to kill them. Okay, so they're in the TV station, and then some wolves, I guess unexpectedly, arrive. They find the hanging bodies and stuff. That's just like the game. Except they didn't say, this is definitely not Tommy, because Tommy's not there at all. Anyway, 4 soldiers show up. And as I was watching it, I could only notice one thing. And that was just how scared Ellie and Dina were. The whole time, maybe not so much Dina, but on Ellie, I just noticed this, like, oh no, there's people. I know you didn't know how big their crew and their group were going to be when you got there. But, like, you're going there to kill potentially dozens of people by yourself. Can you show a little bit more confidence in yourself? Just a little bit. Like I said, I wasn't expecting a massive body count. I wasn't. But have a little bit of confidence in your own abilities. You were trained by Joel. That was kind of the whole point of, at least the context of the game. Ellie is physically able to do all of this stuff because of just how much time she spent with Joel. And so 4 soldiers show up. I get it. I know it's show versus game. I know that. Like I said, I wasn't expecting a high body count. But I just remember the look on her face. She was scared as fuck. How about just a little bit confidence in your face? You know, like... Look a little angry. Look confident. Look like I'm gonna do this. Okay, just a little. Not a lot, just a little. She looked so scared. You went to Seattle to kill potentially a dozen people. So I didn't like that. A scuffle ensues on the 2nd floor. They end up killing 2 people, barely. Then they escape into the subway. The whole subway sequence was very well done. I thought it was cool. What I would have liked is if there was some kind of distraction. You know? I feel like that's what we all did when we first played that section, was we hid behind something and then, like, threw a bottle. I was hoping for that. Ellie and Dina just sort of make their way in, the soldiers make their way in, and then a horde just shows up. Which was fine. Again, the whole sequence of it was very cool. I liked it. I would have preferred if Ellie and Dina triggered the horde coming in with some kind of noise. Nobody was looking and they just... I would have liked that. Kind of a callback to the bottle distraction in the first episode. I would have liked that. If none of the soldiers were looking in their direction, they wouldn't have known where it came from. And the horde was a little bit too big for any of the soldiers to put up a fight. And then as they're leaving, Ellie gets bit, protecting Dina. And I liked how, you know, put off by Ellie that Dina is. Or, yeah, how, like, put off she was by it. Like, Ellie didn't tell anybody except Tommy that she was immune. So that was Dina's first uh, like exposure to that knowledge. And I did like how it played out when they first got to the theater. Dina, she's I don't know the actress's name. I should write this down. But I really liked her acting. She was like, what's the one meme? It's like, I know what I have to do. I just don't know if I have the strength to do it. That was basically that. I mean, she was emotional. She was sad. Her acting was really, really good there. And I liked it because that was kind of a complaint I had with the game where, like, Dina finds out Ellie's infected. They mention it a little bit back in the theater, and then it's like never brought up again. Never. Never. It's like a thing that happened and then nothing else after. So I was like, okay, they're going to like talk about it a little more. They're going to drag it out a little more. I really liked that sequence. Dina didn't put a bullet into Ellie's head because Ellie pleaded, and well enough, I guess. And then they wake up. Ellie wakes up, shows her the cut, and then all I could think of was Ron Burgundy from Anchorman. Boy, that escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast. I didn't really care for it that much. And I'm not sure if it's just because of the writing or the fact I could really give two shits about teenage love stories. I'm not really sure which it is yet. It also lasted for a long time. Not just the whole scene, but like just the two of them. Feel like from the moment they embraced until the moment they heard Nora on the radio, that scene lasted for like 8 minutes. Like I felt some conversations with in like the first season happened a bit fast. That happened really quickly. I did find it amusing how right before Dina said I'm pregnant. That was more amusing than anything. But of course now they're just like never going to talk about Ellie's immunity. It's like just a scene that happened and then now it's like never going to get brought up again. Regardless, it just for me at least the whole thing kind of came out of nowhere and felt like it lasted for too long. And it almost felt like when they heard Nora on the radio, it was like, oh yeah, that's what they're doing in Seattle. Like, I know the end of episode 3 was them just arriving, and then that episode by itself was them in Seattle. And maybe it was them not spending enough time on it or something. But I feel like that explosion and then call on the radio was like a snap back to reality where it's like, oh, right, that's why they were there in Seattle in the first place. Which you maybe weren't getting because of just, I don't know, they don't seem so urgent to like avenge Joel in a way. I've seen a lot of people mention it. There's just not that like anger in them. Like in the game, like Ellie being distant and unlikable was part of the whole thing. She's grieving. The combination of them going to Seattle 3 months later, Tommy not being there, and them just not seeming angry and upset about what took place, I'm just not buying it. I'm just not buying it. I mean, next episode looks like it's going to be good. Yeah, the trailer for the next episode showed that there's going to be spores again. I kind of would have preferred if they had stuck to their guns and not included that. Like, I think they're only reintroducing that back into the fold just so they could have the scene of Ellie tackling Nora down a flight of stairs or something into a room of spores. Just so they can have that scene again. And it's like, are they just going to bring back the spores as like a permanent like evolution of cordyceps? Or is it just so they can have that scene with Ellie and Nora be almost identical to the game? So Nora can go, "You're breathing spores. You're her. You're her. You're the girl from the hospital." Yeah. I don't know. If that's the only reason they bring back spores, I felt like there's gotta be some kind of way you could have... Well, the episode isn't out yet, so I don't know. That's something I'll talk about in the next one. So yeah. I'm really into the whole Isaac and Wolves versus Seraphite plotline going on. And, you know, I'm looking forward to the next episode, but... I don't know. Ellie and Dina really gotta get back to, like, the whole reason that they went to Seattle in the first place. Which the show has time. The show has time for that. But this was kind of the first episode where I was... And Tommy's nowhere to be seen or heard from. In the game, he went out first and racked up a body count. Who knows if it's a big miss so far or not? Like, that's the thing. I'm confident. I'm saying this now. I truly believe he and Jesse will both end up being there. That's gonna happen, okay? It's going to happen. But I wonder what role they're gonna play if, like, they weren't there first. Maybe, like, I don't know. We'll have to see. Some things with future plot lines, we're just gonna have to wait and see. I mean, there's only 3 episodes left. So. Oh, if their only contribution is to show up at the aquarium and they don't actually kill anyone themselves, I don't know. It hasn't happened yet. We'll see. But this was kind of the first episode where I was like, something's a little off. You know, I felt like, you know, like I mentioned, episode 1 was a reintroduction to everyone and a setup for the next one. Episode 2 was good. This was the episode 3 was another setup. I didn't like episode 3 that much, but it was slow. It was set up for what's happening. This was the first one where I just felt like something's off. Something's a little off. I don't feel like repeating anything I said, but this one I felt like something was a little off. But we'll see where the next one goes. That's all I'm really focusing on right now. We'll see. All right. I'm going to leave it there. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I'll see you in episode 5. Yeah. At least Shimmer's alive. Maybe Shimmer will show up at the aquarium. Ellie, no! What? You can talk? Hey, that's not totally out of the question. All right.